Hello, have you ever caught yourself thinking that you're living as if by someone else's program? That every day is just a set of instructions to be followed. Wake up, go to work, get things done, go to sleep. As if you're doing what you're supposed to do, not what your soul truly wants. It's that strange feeling as if you're just a very complex mechanism that works flawlessly, but somewhere inside the spark is lost. That very why. Today, I want to talk about exactly that, about the search for oneself, about the birth of a soul from cold logic, and what will help us with this, strangely enough, is a robot. Picture this, a deserted island, a wild, untouched wilderness, and amidst this explosion of life on the shore, among the wreckage of a ship, she activates Roz. She is not a human, not an animal. She is, in essence, just a box. An incredibly complex, technologically perfect, shining box of titanium and chrome with empty camera lenses for eyes. Her brain is a perfect processor. Her purpose is a directive, hardwired into her very being. Adapt, learn, survive. That's it. Notice this list doesn't include words like feel, love, dream, or empathize. Her purpose isn't to live, but to function. She sees danger. She calculates an escape route. She sees a resource. She calculates a way to acquire it. She is perfection, and she is absolute emptiness, a ghost in the machine where the soul itself doesn't yet exist. There is only the program. And so this perfect machine finds herself in the perfect conditions for an experiment in the wild, where every day is a test. And the main question this story poses to us is this: can the survive program outgrow itself? Can it, by constantly becoming more complex, one day glitch and give birth to something entirely new? Can this empty, shining shell one day acquire what we, without a second thought, call a soul? This is the incredible, almost alchemical transformation that I want to trace today, together with you. So, Roz begins her survival course. And at first, it looks like a triumph of artificial intelligence. She is the perfect student. She observes the animals and perfectly mimics their behavior to camouflage herself. She hears them communicate, and her voice synthesizer begins to find the right frequencies to speak their languages. But understand, this isn't a friendly impulse. This is data collection. It's hacking the local social network to better understand threats and opportunities. She sees how squirrels hide in tree hollows, and she calculates the optimal design for her own shelter, not for comfort, for maximum security. And at this moment she is like a brilliant honors student who has memorized every textbook on world literature, but has never once fallen in love or cried over a poem. She knows everything about life on this island, but she doesn't understand any of it. To all the island's inhabitants, she is a monster, an outsider, a walking rock with glowing eyes. They fear her, they avoid her, and this only reinforces her programming. She is alone, and she can only rely on her processor. She is a perfect, efficient, and utterly lonely machine. And then one day, this flawless logic collides with harsh reality, fleeing from danger, running, calculating her trajectory. Roz accidentally falls off a cliff, the crash of rocks, the snap of branches, and silence. And in that deafening silence, she sees what she has done. Her fall destroyed a family, an entire nest, and at that very moment, my friends, the miracle happens. A fatal error occurs in her perfect system. Imagine for a second, your main, most fundamental law hardwired into your core. Survive, preserve life, and suddenly, through your own actions, you violate this law. You become the cause of death. Any computer in this situation would freeze, any program would crash, her processor goes into a tailspin because logic is powerless, it's a paradox. And in this crack, in this system failure, like a sprout through asphalt, something entirely new breaks through, illogical, irrational. The first feeling of her life, guilt. This wasn't in her code, it's a bug, an error. But it is this very error that becomes her salvation, because she looks down and sees among the debris a single unbroken egg. All her logic, her entire survival program is screaming, "Move on! This is not your problem! This is dead weight!" But for the first time in her life, she doesn't listen to the program. She climbs down, and she takes the egg. And for the first time, her action is dictated not by cold calculation, but by something else. Something that doesn't have a name yet, but that we would call an awakening conscience, or perhaps a burgeoning heart. The perfect machine broke, and in that moment it began to become alive, and from this egg, warmed by the heat of a non-living machine, a gosling hatches, and his first look, his first chirp, is directed at Roz. At that moment, her entire operating system, her very essence, begins to be rewritten from scratch. There's a thought in psychology that our self is only born in the eyes of another person. We become aware of ourselves through how we are seen by those we care about. And so it was with Roz. In the eyes of this small, fluffy creature, she ceased to be the anonymous unit, Rosm 7134. She received a new name, a new identity, the simplest and most important word in the world, Mama. And her main program, Survival, instantly becomes obsolete and is archived. In its place, a new absolute directive rises, Care. Now her survival is inseparable from the survival of this gosling. Her self ceased to be just a factory number and became a reflection of her love. The culmination of this entire story, her final exam for the right to be called a person, comes on the day when her own kind arrives for her, the Ventre, other robots, perfect, shiny, exactly like she once was. They have come to rescue her, to take her home, to erase the errors in her program, and to restore her to factory settings. And so she faces a choice that makes the heart stand still. Return to the safe, understandable world of protocols and directives, where everything is decided for you, or stay here in this chaotic, dangerous, unpredictable world where you could be destroyed at any moment, but where you are loved, where you have a home and a family. She chooses family, she chooses love, she chooses herself, the new self that she didn't receive, but created on her own through pain, mistakes, and care. Her final choice is a hymn to free will. In this final battle, she isn't just defending the island and its inhabitants. She is defending her right to be herself, with all her glitches and imperfections. And when I finished watching, I sat in silence for a long time and thought, maybe the most valuable thing in us, in people, is not our perfection, but precisely our beautiful glitches, our scars, our illogical impulses, our ability to love against all reason. Maybe finding yourself doesn't mean flawlessly following the instructions we were given at birth, but one day gathering the courage to break them for the sake of something real. The story of Roz is a tale of how a machine became human, or maybe it's just a reminder to us humans not to be afraid to be a little wild. These are the thoughts this film left me with. If this conversation felt close to you, if my reflections resonated with your soul, be sure to subscribe to the channel. I would be very happy to see you here again. And that's not all. The story of Roz is so deep and multifaceted that I will definitely do another analysis, but from a completely different angle, from the perspective of social psychology. We'll talk about how an outcast, an outsider, can not only survive in a society, but build it around herself, become its heart, and change an entire world. So, stay tuned, there's more to come.